introducing tonight an act called the Utopia Development Corporation, who are here as themselves tonight. Um, Guys, I've worked with your PR, the guy who does your PR, for quite some time, and when he first sent through your promo, I thought, has he started doing electronic music? Has he started doing hauntology? Because I saw the name Utopia Development Corporation. Now, I don't. You're probably aware of the fact there's a band called Warrington Runcorn Newtown Development Plan out there.
I'm not, but I'd love to do a show with them if they're there.
And
Like,
there's also Utopia Strong. So I wondered, like, is this a super? So yes, hauntology. It's a relatively new electronic sort of genre, which is based around pretty mundane town planning. So when I put it on, I initially heard field recordings, and I'm like, it might be one of those, you know. But then it kicks into like pure like sort of punk rock, noise rock, and I'm sold. So yeah, pleased to meet you. Cracking record. Can you tell me a little bit about how the band came about? Your a little origin story?
yeah, I mean, so three of us have been playing years ago together. So me, Alex here, and Dan, just the other half the vocals, the other guitar. And did that thing where you split up, you go separate ways, you get talking in the pub, and you realize that you kind of miss doing that. And we got back together with the drummer that band had ended finishing with, and thought, God, these songs are boring. I don't actually want to play these songs. What about those songs that we hadn't finished? Let's finish those off. And then that quickly went to, let's just write some new stuff. And this is, in the dark
Absolutely.
ages of 2020 at this
Yeah,
point.
it was just kicking into. I think we kind of. I think
We'd got in a
2020.
room a few times just before lockdown, I think.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for like what 3 or 4 years probably. So to add to Chris' content, we were in a band together called Threads back in it was like 2009, 2010 to like 2013,
Mm.
and we were all good friends and stayed friends. And yeah, we were talking about it for ages, and we started getting into a room to practice, and then it got to 2020, and then the world went to shit.
Yeah.
And when we were writing these new songs, it was there was a kind of necessity out of it. I don't know whether you agree, Chris, but like because we still wanted to continue doing it, but we couldn't meet up, so we set up a little remote OneDrive, and we kept all dipping in and out of it, and just started writing like some new stuff, and it
Yeah,
slowly.
music's never really been massively about just rehashing the old shit over and over again for me. And it was nice to relearn those songs, but it'd been 4 or 5 years since the band
Yeah.
had split and we'd kind of gone our own ways. And it just felt it was a lot more indie, a lot more um still with some punky bits, and some of the stuff still, has ended up one song has ended up being reworked into a
Right, right.
into
But
a
you couldn't have got a much more different concept,
yeah.
really. So this album is lyrically, well, on the face of it, it's centered around a fictitious swimming pool. Am I
Yeah.
correct?
If you it's a real sign. Um on the out on the in the sticks somewhere near Stevenage for an industrial area swimming centre. Now, I've never managed to follow it through to see if there is a wonderful industrial area swimming centre at the end of the rainbow. But after reading that sign, I think it's one of those things where you go, well, that's what our EP should be called, right? That makes sense.
I think it
And
kind of stuck with obviously the the kind of connotations of the brand that we've got, brand, if you can use that word.
You can if
Um,
you're a corporation.
yeah, fair. But yeah, with the UDC vibe, with that kind of well, I don't know whether you're planning on coming into this, but the whole Utopia Development Corporation, there was like it was modeled around the old kind of development corporations that happened in the 70s, kind of that those
yeah,
kind of town planning corporations, which I'm assuming you probably guessed there. But yeah, and just with that kind of weird um kind of contrast between kind of town planning and some kind of sign that actually didn't really make sense. It kind of seemed quite. apt.
Yeah, and it helped
Absolutely.
that I
But
had a friend in the Rolodex who's an actual architect. So when it came to the album artwork, I was like, "Do you want the
perfect.
weirdest bit of commission work you're going to get? Can you design me a swimming pool I have no intentions of building?" Um, and
That's
he got the brief
amazing.
fantastically, and it was nice. I actually got to go through the process of a few backwards and forwards of like, I was thinking this sort of thing. I was like, yeah, that's good, but can we like, I want a fence with some like barbed wire over it, or it needs to be more secure because this is an industrial area. So I got to do a little pretend town planning of my own there.
Amazing.
So
So
that's
multitasking, really.
yeah,
You've got some new skills. So lyrically though, it does take a much deeper look at some pretty grim realities of UK life, and it is a very UK record. Can you tell me a bit about the lyrical through lines in this record?
yeah. I mean, we work in a bizarre way lyrically most of the time. It's a you know, as opposed to being from a most of the time from a single viewpoint, we kind of work quite collaboratively. We have a fifth member who used to bother playing shows with us, but he's incredibly busy being the assistant manager of a pub, so he has no spare time in the evenings anymore. Um, but so me, him, and Dan tend to get together and kind of go through ideas. He's a lyrical genius, Joe Cow.
Mm.
Uh, he just spends most of his time writing lyrics, and take it's nice to take those ideas and kind of form them into something a bit more intentional with a uh bit more of a story to them. So yeah, with the first track, Repeat, is very much about alcoholism, just solidly. It's about being depressed, being drunk, having regrets, you know, wanting to move to a kind of not even more accepting that it's a depressing song without a happy ending to it. As I mean, I've struggled with alcohol in the past, and so I think for the bridge in that one, I kind of just wrote that myself one afternoon, and that's the part that I'm singing, the shouting
Mm.
section in the bridge, and that's very from the it was very from the heart, whereas the the verses were definitely more of a group effort, but that that kind of set the tone for what we wanted the rest of the tracks to kind of be and to kind of go through. And it
Make,
was the second song I think we wrote as a band, and we've been playing it as the opener live for the past like 4 years. So
nice.
Think it was one of the first ones we wrote in that kind of new 2020 writing paradigm where you had this idea and you just kind of text me and go, check this out. So I opened it on my laptop and put a bass line to it and text you and gone, done this. And within the space of 4 or 5 hours, I had just sat there on a Friday evening, we're bouncing back to each other and writing that. Like our decade, I think with like that kind of setting the tone, as it were. There's kind of like this kind of weird, seedy look at kind of like life. Probably maybe not that we're living now, as it were, but when we were maybe a little bit younger.
yeah, that one
Um,
was definitely more Art Deco. Tesco was definitely more of a Joe led thing, and he is a bit younger than us. So
so,
he's
but
the only one not in his mid 30s, mid to late 30s.
that,
So
but
yeah,
It
um,
it does sound actually pretty bang on the money with a lot of it. Like the sort of content that it reminds me at times of Grey Britain by Gallows in
mm,
its delivery and directness and not pulling any punches. You should be really proud of yourselves because it's definitely striking. Was
mm.
that always the intention to like pull no punches just to do some no nonsense?
Yeah, I think once we've obviously been doing this a while with the old band, and I think as you get older, you get more jaded,
Mm,
especially with the older material we used to do was not maybe the most politically charged, not the most like a finger on the pulse.
it was
That
very
was
of its time, wasn't it? Whereas this
yeah.
is like, as you say, is we kind of like, I guess, to try and be direct, as it were.
mm,
Like a couple of our earlier tracks, it felt we've got a track called Cyberpest, which kind of was very kind of in your face, very sweary. Don't ever try to play it on radio kind of thing. Look at um, it's calling out a particular person in the in our music scene at least that
It's an
is
ongoing case, so we can't say who,
yeah, yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah. So I'm
Literally.
trying not to end up in a, but that point. But we found that people were reacting quite well to that, and that was one of the earlier tracks. In fact, that was the track that Chris mentioned earlier. That we actually kind of that was the one that kind of transcended. That was left over from the previous art band. So the music was there. We never had any lyrics. We did that once we started playing live. It kind of realised that people were reacting. So just trying to kind of get to that point. Um, obviously, there's only.
Well, I wouldn't want to say it was as performative as that.
No, but fair.
I, I would say that more there was a quite in the local scene here, Northampton, well-known predator, who accusations were coming out about, and there was a lot of beef backwards and forwards
Yeah,
between people about how to feel about it, and this is in the height of lockdown,
sure.
uh, like too much time to be sat on the internet talking about these things almost.
Mm,
um I don't know, it just felt like when it came to writing lyrics for that, it was the thing that was the most relevant,
mm,
important thing going on in our lives at that point to talk about. And it actually is, that's kind of the main subject of that song, but obviously
yeah.
that's not on this EP. But I
No,
just, I
that,
think me as part of the lyric writing team
yeah.
here at Utopia Development Corporation, um, I think walking that line to not be performative, to not feel like you're getting overly on a bandwagon is
Uh-huh.
important to me. It's definitely, it's got to dialing in the sincerity part of it, as opposed to um just being like, oh, well, this is bad,
Mm,
or oh, you know, I'm angry about this because everybody is. Um, it needs to kind of ring true to ourselves as well.
mm.
So yeah, and that's, I mean, no factories is that was just me being angry about local government, especially here in Northampton.
Yeah.
Bankrupt 3 times or twice or whatever it was.
I think at the point that
Um,
you would kind of we wrote that one, they were on bin strike, weren't they? And you weren't getting your bins collected, kind of thing.
yeah.
So yeah, it was Northampton's been quite poorly run as a council for a number of years, and it's always been kind of a conservative council. And yeah, we
Well,
kind of
Yeah, there's plenty to get
fortunately now
angry about
reformed.
these days, isn't there?
yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I mean, you won't run out of source material anytime soon.
no, we haven't, which is a shame.
So this is a four-track EP
Mm.
plus your intro. Are there plans for a full length?
Well, there was this. It's always been the discussion of what is an album anyway.
Oh, I got into this the other day.
Historically, an album's a selection of singles jammed into a literal physical album of singles. Alex has always been a big proponent of the single releasing as opposed to just chucking out whole kind of finished bodies without, at least
Yeah,
the level we're at.
I feel like everything needs to have its own context. I think the way that people consume music these days is different to how it used to be. And while I love the album as a concept in terms of a body of work, I listen to more albums than I do kind of singles when I consume. That's how I consume. I'm also aware that um, that that's not necessarily how other people consume. People are a lot
Hmm.
people's attention spans don't tend to that they're a lot shorter than they used to be, bluntly.
Yeah.
So it tends to be that you can kind of perhaps lean on releasing little and often. Also, that kind of works if we're as you can probably tell from the EP, this is kind of more refined. But if you listen to some of our earlier bits, we are a little bit. we've got fairly eclectic taste. So sometimes
Yeah.
something won't fit within a body. We've got a collection of songs here on Industrial Air Swimming Centre that comprise our newest songs at the time of recording, and then one of our oldest.
Mm,
And it's just getting that body of work that makes sense
mhm.
cohesively together. So it's not a no to an album. It's we will. I think we will continue writing. We will continue putting music out.
Yeah,
But
we have a few more things that are already written that feel more like they fit being singles and kind
Sure.
of coming out. And the other thing when it comes to doing a record is you need to be with the same producer doing it for the same period of time. Unfortunately, the guy um, who we used for this, who's my best friend, Rufus Fox, who's wonderful, is up
Mm,
in Manchester, is quite busy now.
sure.
So, and admittedly, we recorded this 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
sometimes it takes him a while to finish the mixing,
Yep.
um, which I'm sure he won't mind me saying. Um, so yeah, I think if we were looking at doing a full length release, then we would probably go about things in a slightly different way. Um,
it's about getting the collection of songs that make sense together, I think, isn't it? And then it's about
Absolutely.
finding um the right person at the right time that can treat those songs. I mean, Rufus is great. The track Dance Team's Dance on this EP wasn't actually originally going to be on this EP.
Right.
It was him that came to us and went, "Oh, it was another track that we were going to put on," and he went, "That needs a completely different sound, like
Mm,
production to this." And in the time that we've got, um, we're not going to be able to kind of do the two kind of
hmm
he said
together.
let's look at doing 3 tracks. So of course we decided to, well, we have this demo that's never been played by us. Was I think
We had
Dan,
to learn it in the
the
studio in
guitarist,
the end, didn't
wrote
we?
it on an
mm,
OPZ, it'd never been, it didn't even have guitars, I don't think, on it at the time. And yeah, we just had to write it in the studio, which was quite a different experience. And I actually quite enjoyed the
mm.
change
It
there
was
to,
good.
it's kind of less stressful because you're not trying to get it right because there
Yeah,
isn't
sure.
right yet.
Um,
Um,
Certainly the first time I've done it. If I, if only we had the cash.
yeah,
So what does 2026, the summer 2026 specifically look like for you? Have you got plans for the summer? Live plans?
I need to start booking shows. That's the big one.
Mm,
Takes so much admin, to just get things um to get fully out on the road again.
sure.
I had a massive knee surgery at the start of last year.
Hmm.
Had a cartilage transplant, so I was off of the
Right.
knee for a good 6 weeks, and it really I wasn't trying to book in too much in that time.
Sure.
Um, I did have a small tour with my other band about 8 weeks after the surgery,
Sure.
but we were trying, but that was already booked before the surgery. So what can you do? Um, so yeah, we didn't book in too much last year. So I think it's just now getting back on the. We just start emailing people, which is the
Yeah.
boring
Work
bit
in
Yeah,
that no
progress.
one talks
we've
about. Um,
Yeah.
we've
is
got some kind of hypothetical dates we're trying to fill. We're just kind of trying to kind of fill them. We do everything ourselves, so we've obviously not
Sure.
got an agent or anything. So it's very much a case of there's a few smaller local festivals and stuff that
Cool.
we've kind of put our name forward for, and we're kind of talking to potentially, but nothing in that sense confirmed yet. And again, like we've got 2 or 3 dates. We've got a couple of other bands that we've played with recently that we're kind of talking to about maybe doing some kind of short runs here and there. As Chris said, like there's the admin side to it, but then unfortunately in this like day and age, like it is very much a case of trying to fit it around home lives and stuff
Of
is
course.
yeah, work.
Of
it's
course.
a bit of a pig as well. So I'm just trying to find those dates. But yeah, plan to get up and down, trying to play a bit more nationally, I think is
Yeah.
probably the plan. We've kind of played up and down a little bit, but we've kind of southerly. We've only kind of made it as far as London thus far.
Right.
Um, Played the Black Heart a couple of last year with the Hell. We had another
The
show.
year before.
Oh yeah,
Mm,
God, I had a baby in between that.
Yeah,
Um,
he's had a baby.
yeah,
I've had knee surgery.
cool.
yeah, and then yeah, we kind of got some irons in some fires, but that's the
Awesome.
summer and the rest of the year. So yeah,
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, it's fantastic EP, and I do suggest everybody out there goes and checks it out. Thank you so much, lads, for
What
talking
date
to
is
me
it
this
out?
evening.
Can you remember, Alex? Because it's not fully out yet, is it?
It's out next Friday, the
Next
27th.
Next
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I don't know when this is going out, so that might be in the
It will
past.
be after next Friday.
Not now.
So I'll edit that out.
Cut
It's all
that.
good.
Okay. Right.
Wicked. Thanks a lot,
Cheers,
George.
lads.
Really appreciate it. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.